Happy lunch hour, guys. Okay. Something funny, but I wanted to bring this up because it's actually serious in itself. Y'all know what the nanny state is, okay? And some of these idiotic things that come up in politics, in laws, in cities, states, counties, wherever it is, that, you know, four or five people know better than the rest of the public for what they can do. And you can go back and remember some of these silly ones. Remember New York, maybe 6, 8 years ago, wherever it was, where they were banning big gulps. You couldn't get, I think it was a 32-ounce soda or whatever because it was making people fat. There's no problem buying two 16-ounce sodas, but you couldn't buy one 32-ounce soda. I mean, this is how stupid some of this stuff gets, all right? I wanted to give you this, and I'll get into why in a second here. But New Zealand, and I know there's a few of you guys on the channel here who are from New Zealand. Get this new law. You are forbidden from buying cigarettes if you were born after 2008. Now, hear me out on this one. If you're born in 2009, it's 2021, you're 12, okay? Chances are not a whole lot of 12-year-olds buying cigarettes. The law is you are forbidden from buying cigarettes if you were born after 2008 forever. So in 2050, when somebody's 32 years old, or 42 years old, sorry, you still can't buy cigarettes. You're not allowed. Ever. Okay? This is a law they are putting into place to curb their smoking. Now, it probably won't get a whole lot of press right now because everybody goes, big deal. Who cares? A bunch of 12-year-olds shouldn't be smoking anyway. But they don't read the whole thing and go, oh, but this is perpetual. This doesn't stop. It doesn't say we're going to add this a year on every year. It's not like, law says you can't buy cigarettes. I think it's still 18. I don't know. Maybe it's 21 now. And as you turn 18, then you're allowed. No, this is you can't buy cigarettes ever if you were born January 1st, 2009 or later, okay? But you think about some of these silly laws, all right? Y'all know I use this thing. If you remember, about a year ago, I think it was now, that the U.S. made it illegal to ship nicotine, liquid nicotine, which is used in this, through the mail, okay? And their answer was, well, because that way we can keep kids from getting it. No, why don't you just have something simple like you got to be 21 to buy it, okay? Y'all know you can't ship alcohol, Jack Daniels, whatever it is, through the mail, through FedEx, through UPS, through DHL. It's not legal. Why? To keep kids from getting it. I understand, not these laws, I understand trying to protect things from being in minors' hands. Totally get that, all right? Don't want a 12-year-old having access to buy a car and drive a car. I don't want a 12-year-old having access to buying cigarettes. I don't want a 12-year-old having access to buying condoms. I don't want a 12-year-old having access to this, even though they are enticing them with slices of pizza and telling them not to tell their parents about that, okay? But this is kind of the craziness that you need to prep for. Now, in New Zealand, if you can't buy cigarettes that you're born after 2008, okay, it's not going to make a difference now. It will in 10 years, all right? But let's look at, all the other things that we have to prep for that the government, these supposed elected officials, are trying to make decisions for us for the better of us, Oh, well, they identify as female, so we need to call them she and her. Or maybe they don't identify as anything, so we need to call them she or whatever the hell it is, okay? I'm trying to find confirmation on this one, but one of you all had sent me or commented this morning about Mexico now letting people be able to self-identify based on age. Okay. Well, I feel like I'm 24, so I'm going to change my birth birth certificate or my birthday that says I'm 24. Granted, I'm 55, okay, but I'm going to say I'm 24. But let's take the other side of things. Let's say somebody's 12. It says, I identify as 21. They get an ID that says they're 21. Great. They can go drive a car. They can go buy a bottle of Jose, because that's what they identify as. I mean, can I identify as a squirrel? Because then I don't have to pay taxes because squirrels aren't taxed. Okay. The insanity of what is going on in the world, New Zealand, Germany, Australia, Canada, the United States, Great Britain, God knows what, that we talk about every day. It's getting difficult to prepare for stuff like this, okay? How do you protect yourself if all of a sudden you get hit by a car driven by a 12-year-old? Okay? Imagine dating. Well, she told me she was 18 is now a legal defense? If she identifies as 18 and the state recognizes it, doesn't matter if she's 12, right? Imagine your children, your grandchildren at 14 years old saying, I want to drive a car, Mom. I want to drive a car, Dad. You're not 16. I identify as 16, therefore I'm getting a driver's license. Really? Okay. How we raise our kids, how we, the adults, portray ourselves in society, in reality, is going to make a huge difference on where it goes. Okay. We've said it all the time. Give them an inch, they're going to take a mile. Because you're black, you're white, you're Hispanic, you're Asian, you're Pacific Islander, whatever it would be. Okay. It's pretty obvious, unless, of course, you're Rachel Dolezal. But, I'm not going to be able to identify as black. It's just not going to work, okay? I'm not going to be able to identify as female unless I go join the circus as the bearded lady, okay? Or whatever, take lots of estrogen. What is going on? I mean, somewhere, somehow, this has got to stop. And while I'm all for acceptance on most things, okay, I got no problem with equality for women. I've got no problem with equality for any race. I've got no problem with equality for religion, anything like that. It doesn't matter to me, okay? It doesn't affect me. What I do have a problem with is the nanny state where they are saying they're going to make the decision on what I need to accept and what I don't. I don't need to accept a 12-year-old is considered an adult. I don't need to, because here's how the other side of it works, okay? If a 12-year-old can identify as an 18-year-old, why can't the government say you're 12, but you're drafted because we identify you as an 18-year-old? Think about that. This is the slippery slope we're on. Have a good afternoon. Pinball out.